the Sustainability Management Master's Program, you are answering one simple question. Do you care about your future generation? If you care about your kids, their grandkids, then you care about sustainability. And a sustainability manager is someone who has the tools to make people understand how they can contribute towards developing a sustainable world. We have both part-time and full-time students. Our curriculum is 30 hours. Instead of thesis, we have a research project course and a seminar course which provides them with the kind of research background they will need to be successful in their job. At the same time, sustainability is not always everything about environment. It also relates to the business. They will take a sustainable business strategies course. They will take a project management course. Most of these courses are going to be taught by industry people, the people who are doing sustainability on a daily basis as a part of their job. Any organization that has a large number of employees and has a physical infrastructure, they will have to have a sustainability office. If you have the passion to develop and maintain a sustainable world, come to us and we will help you shape your passion into a career which will create an impact.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Sarkar, and thank you for coming. We don't have any empty seats except this one, and this is great. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'll talk about sustainability marketing. This is a new approach to marketing practice, and I wanted to share with you the ideology in a new developing business era that is called sustainability marketing. I will cover green consumption. Green consumption is my research area. That's why I love talking about it, and I will cover in this presentation as well. And I will talk about my recent research study. It's on sustainable transportation behavior. Briefly, I will mention that. Let's look at today's presentation. I'll cover general overview, the big picture of the relationship of businesses, environment, and consumers. We will see the big picture, how they are interacting with each other. That's what we will see. And I'll talk about triple bottom line. I'm sure you know about it by now. It is a newly developed word in the business world, and we use it a lot in the new business era, and also the relationship of triple bottom line with marketing. I'll also talk about some issues that we are facing with conventional, traditional marketing practices. From there, I will get into the practice of sustainability marketing and the need for practicing new approaches in the marketing world. And I will cover my recent research study, as I mentioned earlier. Okay. Now, as I told you, let's see the big picture. What is the connection between businesses, environment, and the society? You know about 3 Ps, right? You know that? 3 pillars of sustainability. So those are people, planet, and profit. Profit is representing here businesses, of course. So businesses are extracting goods and materials from the environment in order to produce new products for consumers. As consumers, we are all consumers. We may think that we are not, but we are. We are constantly purchasing goods and services. So that means that from businesses we are getting goods and services, and then we are using them. Now we are consumers. And in marketing, in consumer behavior, there's something called consumer decision-making process. So as consumers, we are going through different processes. We purchase the good, then we use the good, and then we dispose the good. So all these, every stage that we go through as a consumer, we have an impact on the environment. In every stage. We have different types of impacts, but we definitely have impact on the environment as consumers. We are using, we are driving, for instance, and we have an impact on the environment. Then after the usage stage, we are coming into the disposal stage. We dispose. Waste accumulation is happening. Again, we have an impact on the environment. In some cases, if we are nice enough, we are recycling, and then it goes to the recovery, resource recovery. We may reproduce the products after that in a business setting. But every stage that we are going through here, from extraction of the materials to disposal of the product, we are impacting the environment. And that is exactly 3 pillars of sustainability that we have to pay attention, because every stage we are having an impact on the environment. So the relationship of I just represented the big picture, has really tremendous implications for businesses. Businesses need to look at their long-term success, long-term planning they have to come up with. So their economic well-being is important, but not only that, the well-being of the environment as well as the social well-being would be necessary to consider for businesses. So, and we know that this is called triple bottom line. Every business needs to think about people, social responsibility. They have to be socially responsible, not only socially, environmentally responsible, but of course, we are in business for a reason, right? And that is the reason. If we are in the for-profit business, we are looking for profit. So we need to be able to come up with this equation. How can we equate all these with each other? And finding this is the main question in the business world. And many companies are trying to achieve this. While they are getting economic prosperity, how can they achieve also the other aspects of this triangle? Probably you knew all the things that I mentioned so far, but what we don't know, what is not really known so much is, what is the function of marketing here? How can we adapt to the triple bottom line perspective in the marketing function? Marketing is very important. We may neglect it, we may not know so much about it, we may see it as tricking people, but it's not really that. In some cases, that's how it is being conducted, but that's not the ethical way of doing it. Marketing is very important because it includes every function of the business. It includes financial abilities. We need to communicate with our employees. We need to communicate with the people in the society. We have to come up with the products. All these decisions are made in the marketing department. We have to price the product. Pricing is the job, the responsibility of the marketing professional. We have to price it in a way that it is affordable for many individuals. That means social responsibility. So it has a social aspect. We have to consider people. We have to think about truths in advertisements. That is the socially responsible aspect of marketing. That's how we're supposed to practice marketing. So it has great implications for consumers. Other than that, I put only 2 examples. There are so many, but only 2 are there. Labeling. Labeling is important. We have to communicate what the product is giving to the customer. That is the marketer's job, to give that information to consumers. So you have to be socially responsible when you're acting in your marketing department of the corporation that you are working as a marketing professional. It's very important. The other aspect of it is environmental responsibility. How could environmental responsibility be reflected in a marketing practice? So it is highly related, because the job of the marketing professional is to develop products or services that is needed or wanted by consumers. What type of product we are developing? Is it eco-friendly or not? That is a decision that is being made by the marketing professional. So product safety, is it healthy for the environment, for the individuals? That is also connected to the social responsibility, actually. So we are considering all these aspects. Durability, how long we can use the product. That is the decision made by the marketing professional as well. So a lot of decisions that we need to make, and it is the responsibility of the marketing professional to keep this triangle in place, this equation in place. The other one is packaging. Only 3 examples I put there, but packaging decisions are made by a marketing professional as well. You know how detrimental to the environment, the waste that we are accumulating, everything comes within packages. So these decisions are made by marketing professionals. So it's highly related to these 3 pillars of sustainability, how we are functioning in a corporation. The other one is pricing, I want to mention. As I said, pricing decisions made by marketers and marketing departments, and that is giving economic prosperity to the company. I don't need to talk too much about that, I believe. So marketing has a lot at stake because a lot of stakeholders connected by marketing activities in a business setting. We have communities, we have consumers, we have governments, we have employees. All these stakeholders are connected with each other with the marketing activities. That's why it's very important. We want consumers to get what they need, but we want them to get it as a way we wouldn't be harmful to the environmental or social well-being. Now, if you think about society and marketing, up here, social responsibility, of course, now we can think that marketers are trying to sell the products all the time. And as humans, we are Homo sapiens, meaning that wise men. We're supposed to be wise, but mostly our actions are not wise enough because we are using more resources than the earth can provide, and we are creating a dangerous environment for future generations, maybe for our generation, indeed. So in most of the cases, we don't act so wisely, and marketing has a lot of responsibility in that terms. So what can we do about it? We are wasting, we are depleting, we are degrading the environmental resources. There are new ways I will talk about in a couple of minutes. But what we see in general, there are some issues with traditional marketing, conventional marketing. We want to sell more. That is the mindset in any marketing department of a large corporation. And I know I'm teaching marketing principles to students, and I talk about these because I want new generation to learn new things. I want them to have a different perspective because it is not about profits, not anymore. We have to consider other aspects. So there's something in marketing, everything starts from the customers. In marketing, everything starts from the customers. We need to know what they need, what they want. And from there, we can develop our marketing strategies, step by step. But everything starts with customers. We develop marketing research. We survey customers. Oh, they want coffee with hazelnut flavor. We start producing that, okay? So we ask many different questions. We try to find out the needs, their wants, and we develop the product. Now, what's wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that? It's good, They are meeting our needs, not necessarily needs, wants. We want hazelnut coffee, it's not necessary to have it, but they are coming up with it. It's a good thing because I want it. The problem with that, we have to consider the fact that consumers have also responsibilities. Similar to we as marketers, we have responsibilities as well. How is that? They want this. Should we give it? How come I enjoy smoking and you don't? What type of an advertisement is this? Is this right? Do you think it's good? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't want to tell me. It shouldn't be this way. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes consumers may not know necessarily what's good for them. And if we try to promote the products that they want all the time, it may be bad for the environmental well-being or their individual well-being. This is not healthy. So it might not be a good idea to promote it to the customers. Another one. Now, by now we know that soda is not really healthy necessarily, particularly for babies. But this was from a long time ago. We don't see these types of advertisements, thank God, anymore. But, I mean, youngest customer in business, and they are promoting this. This is not right. Do you see the changes nowadays? We don't promote anything like that to consumers. So there are changes happening, and that's what's needed, particularly in the marketing world, that is needed. So traditional marketing, we are trying to meet the current needs and wants of consumers and the company, but we don't care about anything else. That is the traditional approach in marketing, but it may have implications. This idea moves us to this new ideology of sustainability marketing. When we say sustainability marketing, this is where it stands. It is a meeting current needs in a way that preserves the rights and options of future generations of consumers and businesses. So we are considering future generations, their health as well, social well-being, environmental well-being as well. So this aligns so well with triple bottom line mindset. That's how it's supposed to be. Sustainability marketing has a broader perspective. We are considering society and planet. It also has a relationship focus. We are not trying to gain as much as possible from one-time transaction. We're not trying to sell the product. That's like old time. They came to the door. They tried to sell the pants that we didn't need. Remember? I mean, you wouldn't remember. Remember? They tried to sell. Yeah. We didn't need it, but they were trying because they produced so many of them. Pots they were trying to sell, and they were trying to come door to door trying to sell those products. But we didn't need it necessarily. It's important to know the needs of the customers, but also developing relationships, okay? We are trying to develop relationships. We are not trying to sell the product only one time and forget about the customer. It's a long-time relationship. It is not one-time economic transaction, okay? So that is the ideology behind sustainability marketing. Okay, so it's a broader concept than traditional marketing approach. So what is sustainability marketing? I mentioned many of them, but this is the framework of sustainability marketing. Everything starts with socio-ecological problems, acknowledging them, and putting together with consumer behavior and developing this strategy based on these two. It wasn't used to be that way. It used to be, okay, what do they need? I'm just going to develop a strategy, I'll sell the product. It was about that. But now we are considering these two elements as well. So, and then we are developing 4 Ps, we call it in the marketing world, We are developing the product, place decisions, pricing decisions, as well as promotional decisions. Okay? That makes sense for that. Ecologically oriented, it shows here. So we are considering the health of the ecosystem. Viable. From the technical feasibility standpoint, we have to be competitive in the marketplace. So innovations are important in sustainability marketing. It's ethical. This is very important. Marketing should be ethical. I know we keep seeing very unethical practices, but it shouldn't be that way because it's a very important element of every business function. So it should be ethical. We are considering greater social justice and equity. How are the working conditions of my employees? I should worry about that. If I don't, then I will be in the shoes of Nike. What happened? They said, I didn't know about it. Overseas, sweatshops, but people didn't want to listen to that. They said that you were the responsible party. You should have known. We don't care about the third-party actions. You should act responsibly. And there were huge implications of that. So, should be ethical. Relationship-based, I mentioned that, not one-time transaction. I want to give an example because I talked about many things, but what is it really? How do we do it? Now, this is Toyota Prius. It's the new model they came out with. How do we develop the product under sustainability marketing? This is the example of that. So customer satisfaction is still important. We want them to be satisfied with our products or services. First models, if you remember, first electric cars, they were not really going any further. Do you remember, long time ago? So it wasn't really satisfying the needs. So why would I buy it? Even the highly concerned customers towards the environment, they would be reluctant to purchase something that doesn't really go. So this is very important, customer satisfaction. We have to achieve that, otherwise we wouldn't be competitive in the marketplace. Dual focus. This means that we are considering social well-being as well as environmental, socio-ecological well-being, both of them. Life cycle orientation, this is different. Marketers had no idea what was really life cycle assessment meant. Now they are getting into this, and this is something excellent because they have to know about it. From the marketing and business perspective, it used to be product life cycle. We produce, we sell the product, it goes into the market, and then it goes down. They don't prefer our product anymore. That's the cycle, which was known by businesses. Not anymore. We have to consider what happens in the purchase, and that what happens in the manufacturing stage, then purchase, then usage stage. What happens when people are driving this? Because that has the highest impact on the environment. What happens after they dispose the product? So all these are assessed under sustainability marketing. And we are trying to reduce the impact as much as possible, and many companies are doing that nowadays. And that is highly promising. And we need to improve the product constantly. This is a good example to that. First model, if you remember, first model of Prius, do you remember? Yeah? Right before this. How did it look? Yeah, hatchback, but it looked slightly different, and actually very different than this one. This is more futuristic. Don't you think so? So they try to improve the product, the design of the product. This constant improvement is necessary. If we don't do that, we cannot be competitive in the marketplace, and we have to provide those competing offerings. Not in the hybrid car world, but we have to make it competitive against all the other vehicles in the marketplace. So that is the idea. We are not trying to focus on green consumers here. That's why it's not called green marketing or environmental marketing. There are so many names nowadays. Eco-marketing, I can't recall. But these are some of the names we call it. This is sustainability marketing. We are looking at those three pillars. we are trying to achieve that with marketing practices. So here it is again, sustainability marketing is here. The behavior change is possible with sustainability marketing activities. Under sustainability marketing, we are trying to move masses of consumers towards being sustainable consumers. That's what we are trying to do. That's why we are not trying to focusing on those eco-sensitive consumers. Not only them, everybody. And it's possible. And that's my research area. Behavior change. How can we achieve this? It has been suggested, there are two social psychologists, Steg and Mulek, and they suggested that in order to change consumer behavior and make them more eco-sensitive, we need to select the behavior that we want to change. And then we can examine those factors causing those particular types of behaviors. And in my research, usually I focus on a certain type of behavior and then examine what are the predictors of that particular behavior. By knowing the predictors, I can suggest to marketers, social marketers, as well as businesses, policy makers, to how to change the behaviors of consumers and make them more sustainable. And that's my area. I enjoy it very much. This is one of my latest studies I wanted to share with you. It has been just published last month. There are many different motivations how we behave. I may come here with my car because that's the only way I can come. There's no public transportation from where I am to here. So there might be those elements that could make me choose one particular type of transportation but not the other one. Okay? Maybe I feel good about driving, maybe that's why I'm driving. For this particular study, I looked at purchase behavior. As I told you, the researchers are stating that we need to choose the behavior that we want to change. In this case, I looked at purchase behaviors of consumers and how we can make it more sustainable. And this study showed that norms are important. Subjective and personal norms, they are important elements. And I put some suggestions to policymakers and sustainability marketing professionals that we need to focus on different norms of consumers. But today, I really want to talk about, this is one of the recent research studies that I have, I want to share with you. It's on transportation behavior. How can we change the transportation behaviors of individuals? The literature is stating that there are many different factors, many different motivations that are impactful on how we choose different transportation options. Again, as I said, maybe feelings, that's playing a role. I love driving, maybe that's one of the reasons why I drive. Maybe self-interest motives, that could be a reason. Maybe it is much cheaper to take the train, that's why maybe I may be taking the train as a transportation option. Moral considerations, maybe I feel really bad, I'm teaching sustainability, I have to be eco-sensitive, at least I have to look like it, so that's why I'm taking the bus, you know, the moral aspect of it. So where's this place? Let's go to places. Where is this place, you think? Where are we?
China?
It is. Good guess. This is in China. Now, these individuals are coming from vacation. This is the expressway from Beijing to Macau. Okay? Right after the long weekend, they are coming back, but they need another vacation, probably, because this doesn't look so good to me. This is a huge problem, because this has health implications, because it changes the air quality, it increases the stress level, other than that. It really changes the environmental air quality tremendously. So our health is at stake, Environmental health is at stake. Not only that, there are economical implications of this, and I'll share with you in a minute. Now, all the researchers, all the scholars, they always talk about developing nations. And I thought, yesterday I was thinking, that's enough. We have to, see it through, different lens a little bit. Let's go to Europe, okay, for a change. Let's go to Europe. In the morning, you open the window, you're there, and that's what you see. Okay, how would you feel about that? Where are we, you think? You saw the slides beforehand. I should have sent you. Yeah? You see it? You see it? Oh, very good. Good eyes. But we are in Paris. I mean, you paid all that much, and you arranged your vacation time. You went there. That's horrifying. You want to see it. You wanted to see at least Eiffel Tower. And this is a big problem. These pictures were taken in 2015. And they had a big issue about air quality. The smog was everywhere. And Paris banned some cars for a day right after this happened. And they were not able to go on roads. This was caused by highly diesel cars. And this is a big problem. Air pollution costs France 100 billion euros every year. So as I said, economical implications we see. So it's a huge problem. Not only there, another developed nation, let's go to London now, they are having a big issue about air quality as well. You see 10,000 people in London each year, they are dying because of lack of air quality. So this is from Time magazine. This was also from last year, this picture. So I got interested in the subject because it has huge implications on our lifestyle. All those 3 Ps are affected by that. And how can we change the behaviors of consumers? And I got interested in this. And I chose transportation behavior. And it's right here, the usage stage. This is the consumption process that I mentioned earlier. In consumer behavior, we covered these all stages. But in the traditional marketing, mostly we are focusing on purchase, this stage. That's what we know in most of the cases. We don't really focus on this or this stage, what happens after that. But with sustainability marketing, that is the focus. Usage stage has the highest impact on the environment. You buy a washing machine, that has the highest impact at the usage stage, not necessarily manufacturing stage or disposal usage stage. Same thing with vehicles, has the highest impact at the usage stage. So a lot of research gaps. I know I didn't have so much time, so I had to cut off some of them. But the research is stating that there are many different kinds of motivations impacting us, how we behave when it comes to transportation behavior. And I looked at hedonic, that means feeling good about driving, or taking train, or taking bus, self-interest motives, and moral motives. And I tried to see which ones are most important here. So these are a little bit overwhelming right now when you first look at them, but each theory is representing one motivation. The top one is the self-interest motivation that is coming from Eisen, and it is stating that we choose alternatives with highest benefits against lowest costs. Okay? That's what it says. The other one, values, beliefs, norms theory from Stern et al., is stating that we behave in a normative way. Our normative concerns are important. We value some things, and then that leads to beliefs on that particular behavior, and then we develop pro-environmental personal norms and we act upon it at the end. The last one is affective motives, that is covering hedonic motives, feeling good, positive, negative, those two. And that's leading to the actual behavior. So these are theoretical aspects of what I'm looking for here. 3 different types of motivations. And I develop a big, gigantic research model here, conceptual model, and I develop 12 hypotheses based on the literature review and those theories that I just mentioned. So the top part here, they are looking at hedonic motives. This part is looking at self-interest motives, and the bottom part is looking at values, beliefs, norms, theory, normative motives. From this conceptual framework, I know I don't have so much time to cover each one of these, but mainly it is saying that how we feel about creates our positive or negative attitudes, and that would lead to intention, and our subjective norms, and if we see it easy or difficult to perform a certain behavior, that has an impact on our intention, as well as our beliefs, our values impacting our beliefs, and that is leading to creation of our pro-environmental personal norms, and that is leading to behavioral intentions. Now, in most of the literature review, it is showing that intentions are the immediate antecedent of the actual behavior. That's why it's right there, it's placed right there. Now, I collected the data. This was a US-based recycling company, TerraCycle. They were able to provide their accounts, and account members receive every month a newsletter, and they received a newsletter with the survey, and this survey helped them to get into the link and answer the questions, survey questions. In the questionnaire design, I use established standardized scales from the literature with 7-point Likert scale. This means that strongly agree to strongly disagree type of answer choices. That's what it is. And I use structural equation modeling to analyze the data. It usually uses 2-step process. And first, you need to estimate the measurement model with confirmatory factor analysis. Then you need to look at the structural equation model with SEM. So I conducted both of them, and I don't think I need to cover numbers, should I? Briefly. So now this is a slightly different than what you're doing. Possibly, I'm not sure if any one of you is doing behavioral studies, but usually, in order to understand, let's say, altruistic values of a person, you need to ask many different questions. And but is the way they are answering the question, you can determine if they have high altruistic values or low altruistic values. Okay, so for each construct there in the model you saw, we need to ask many different questions, more than one question, because one question wouldn't give us a reliable Cronbach alpha. That's showing the reliability of the construct. Okay, and we are asking many questions, more than 2. Some of them are gone. I have many more questions, but when I was doing confirmatory factor analysis, I had to eliminate some of the items because they were reducing the reliability of the construct. So in all the standard deviation, mean, value, they are here. The results were good to move on and see the measurement and structural model fit. So the results suggested that the measurement and structural models achieved good fit to the data. That means that we can use the data and we can come up with the recommendations, actually, and that was great. So these are the threshold values. Everything seemed to be fine. We want these to be higher than 0.90, these. So they are here. Of the threshold values. So they seem to be good. I think this is more important to cover. I told you I developed 12 hypotheses, and from those 12, 11 of them were supported. And that was something good. So I could provide some recommendations only from altruistic values to environmental concern. That relationship seemed to be non-significant. The rest of them were statistically significant. I was able to explain 70% of the behavioral intention with attitudes, with subjective norms, with perceived behavioral control, as well as personal norms. Okay? I'm going to show you this graph. This shows in a better way. So this is the behavioral outcome, which is transportation behavior. Okay? People are choosing either to use eco-sensitive transportation behavior or not. Highly impacted by the intention. And these are all statistically significant. But what's interesting here, subjective norms were not really as strong as the other ones. Subjective norms means that what we would prefer the other people to think about our behavior. You know what I mean? If we think that others want us to take the bus, we would take the bus. So this shows that we don't really care so much what others think about what we do. That's what it's shown. And that was an interesting result. Altruistic values, how much we value the others. That was not statistically significant. But how much we value the biosphere, well-being of the nature, that was very important, it looks like. In egoistic values, that's, of course, it has to be negative, because if we are too much of an egoistic person, that means that we wouldn't really care so much about the environment. That's what I think.
It does.
Yeah, so it was negatively correlated, okay, negative impact. If we have low egoistic values, we have high environmental concern, okay? That's what it says. So beliefs were important. This is like a chain reaction. Higher the environmental concern we have, higher the awareness of consequences we will have, and that will lead to the more responsibility we assign to ourselves, and we will have higher personal norms. So what were the results, and what can we recommend from these? So perceived behavioral control, the ease or difficulty of conducting the transportation behaviors, eco-sensitive transportation behavior, that is important. That means that we need to improve availability. That could be the policy implications. Improve the availability, provide convenience, easy access to consumers. So they would be able to easily access to public transportation, let's say. Okay? Attitudes seem to be important. Also, feelings, that seem to be important. We need to make it enjoyable. We need to promote it. It is an enjoyable thing to take the train or bus, public transportation. Okay? And we need to strengthen or increase the accessibility of biosphere values. Education is important here. We need to increase that view of biosphere, natural well-being, something important. With education, we can achieve that. And here, and communicate the detrimental consequences of an environmental behavior. So we need to inform that there are certain consequences of their actions. How can we do that? I decided to give you an example. I decided to show you an example. So how we can use this in sustainability marketing, because that was the subject that I covered here. We can use something like this maybe. Would we know the detrimental consequences of our actions? Not necessarily. Butterflies are flying, flowers. It's not showing that. It's a happy world here. But we can show something like this. This is showing the detrimental consequences of not behaving in an environmentally sensitive way to consumers. This is how we develop marketing strategies. Okay? Sustainability marketing strategies. We want to change the behavior of the consumer, then we can do this way. Based on the research study that I just shared with you. So results are showing this. Of course, I had some limitations. What about habits? I didn't include that because it was already a big model I had. Habits could be important. I always, drive my car. It's so convenient. It's right there, and I habituated to it. So I'm not going to change it easily. in contextual factors, situational factors could be important. Also, self-report measures could lead to possibility of common method variance. Sometimes for social approval, we may say something that we don't really necessarily do. We may say, oh, I always take public transportation, right? For that social approval. So measuring the actual behavior could be a way to go for future studies, which I was not able to do so far. So in cultural aspects of it, culture may play a role. In some cultures, people are more accustomed to take public transportation, but not so much others. So that could play a role. So we could focusing on, we could also put that into the model and see how that will give us the results. That's about it. I would like to thank you all for having me. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer as much as I can. Thank you.